At 9:30 Eastern. Right now, Colin Cowherd tells you what last night meant for LeBron's future. The Herd starts now.
Will he wear those pantyhose in the ring?
This is The Herd, wherever you may be and however you may be listening, live in Los Angeles, iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, and FS1. It feels cold to me in the studio this morning.
It's extra cold in here today.
Yeah.
Feels like January in Minnesota.
Yeah, it's very, very cold. That's the voice of Christine Leahy is joining me today.
So was it football or Lonzo last night for you? I know that was tough to decide.
It was football. That game was awful.
Yep.
It was awful. It's one of those games. It was a good camp last night. So I watched some NBA, LeBron, and I want to start with that. So years ago there was a story. I don't remember where I read it, but that Michael Jordan would pin things in his house in his heyday in Chicago after bad games and criticisms, and Michael Jordan would try to keep himself motivated. And we're seeing this now with LeBron, 15th year, 10th straight year. He's been the dominant best player in the league, and he's trying to find ways to keep himself motivated. This is what happens to very successful people. Success is easier, and they get bored until they really have to step up. So this week, LeBron going to New York. LeBron's smart, understands I'm going to New York. I'm going to poke the bear a little bit, poke the New York Knicks a little bit. And he goes out and he said, the Knicks should have drafted that Dallas Mavericks guard, Dennis Smith, instead of the guy from France. You guys really messed up on that. Dallas got the diamond in the rough. Should have been the Knick. That's going to make some headlines, but he should have been a Knick. And, of course, Enes Kanter, the worst defender in NBA history, was upset. He's a Knick. He pushed back. He didn't like it. He attacked LeBron on Twitter. So here we go last night. Here's LeBron, bored like MJ, posting stuff at home to keep him energized and activated. We had a little moment last night, a little dust up, and here it is. Can you see it there?
LeBron James and Kanter, and that's what the crowd was waiting for. Oh, Kanter doing some mouthing. Oh, now my house. It is Kanter. You knew he was going to mouth off at some point. Here we go.
Kanter started the whole thing.
Mr. Tough Guy. We got a double foul. We got a technical foul as well. Kanter was outspoken because of LeBron's comments the other night. Ntilikina got involved, gave a little shove,
Oh, man.
and here comes the police force.
Right. He incited the riot right there.
He wasn't even in the play.
He wasn't even in the play.
Well. I love basketball in New York City, especially at the Garden. They had a fight, by the way, the New York Knicks, led by 23 and led by 15, entering the fourth. They were at home. It was their game. And then, LeBron decided, you tick me off tonight. I'm not going to forget this. And here's what happens next.
LeBron spins away from trouble. Takes a bump. And finishes it! He went Albert Bellum! Foul on Jared Jack! A king always trumps a Jack!
LeBron James comes down the floor. Nice spin move. Takes a bump. Then lays it in. Opportunity for a three-point play.
If you're playing poker, bet on 23.
Enes Kanter went scoreless in the fourth quarter. Let's just say LeBron didn't. I didn't keep track, but I think he assisted or scored 30 points. They overcame a 15-point deficit. Don't make LeBron care. He goes Bruce Banner to the Hulk, and that's what Enes Kanter did. LeBron took only 14 shots when they played Dallas, awful Dallas this weekend because he wasn't engaged. They won. He took 24 shots last week against Houston because he was engaged. This was a game in which, and I said this 2 weeks ago, LeBron is trolling us. He's entertaining himself. He knows as this team builds chemistry and eventually gets Isaiah Thomas, they're going to be very good. But he's bored. 15th year. He's entertaining himself. And last night was a game that he manufactured and manipulated New York and the Knicks and Enes Kanter to get his game on late, and it worked. LeBron is simply trolling the league until the games matter in May. Here was Enes and LeBron after.
I don't care who you are, king, what do you call yourself, king, queen, princess, whatever you are. You know what, we're going to fight, and nobody out there going to punk us.
Well, I'm the king, my wife is the queen, and my daughter is the princess, so we got all three covered.
It was classic LeBron. It really did remind me last night watching. It reminded me of Michael Jordan. It really did. That is as much Michael Jordan as it is LeBron James. You know, Michael Jordan, petty, punched a teammate, fierce. That was Michael Jordan. Going into Madison Square Garden in a meaningless game, getting himself worked up, trolling the Knicks, a little talk, down big, taking over the game late. Of all LeBron's exploits, that reminded me of Michael Jordan. Great stuff. Let me shift gears to Lonzo Ball. Lakers won. Lonzo was okay early. They sat him late. That often happens in the NBA. For kids down the stretch, they played Corey Brewer, who's a very good defensive player. Lakers won. That's a big deal. Bigger than you think, and I'll get to that in a minute. But Magic Johnson was talking about Lonzo Ball's shot. And here's, it's obviously he's struggling with his shot. And here's what Magic said about it.
He's been shooting that way his whole life. So what we wanted to do was just let him play his game, let him shoot the way he's been shooting. Hopefully, they'll go in. So we're not going to mess with it. We're going to let him shoot and play his game. If after the season he's not shooting well, then we'll sit down and say, hey, let's maybe look at a different way, or let's try to improve the way you are shooting. But we don't want to mess with his shot. He's proven that he's knocked that shot down, and we want to encourage him to keep shooting it.
Let me just add some context as the Lakers won last night over a really bad Phoenix team. Who thought Lonzo was a great shooter? He averaged 15 in college. He's averaging 9.5 in his first month in the NBA. Aren't the Lakers trying to attract scorers? That's why they drafted Lonzo Ball. It was part of the plan to attract scorers. Scoring's gravy. He was seen as a passer, a vision guy, and fun to play with, and a culture changer. Lonzo is salt. He's a leadoff hitter in baseball. He's a setup man for the funnier comedian. Salt doesn't make the dish, right? You'd never create a dish just with salt, but it makes it better. And we look at all these point guards over the last 8 to 10 years, John Wall, Westbrook, Steph, Harden, Kyrie, and we think point guards have to be great scorers. No, they don't. No, they don't. If LeBron and Paul George are watching and coming to Los Angeles, and then you include Kyle Kuzma who can shoot, and Brook Lopez who can shoot, and Brandon Ingram who could shoot, and of course Paul and LeBron could shoot, would you really want Lonzo Ball shooting? They knew what they were getting. The family that buys the Volvo doesn't think they're getting a sports car. The family that buys the minivan doesn't do it for off-road racing. You don't buy a classic Corvette and ask where you put the child seat. Nobody ever thought Lonzo was a great shooter. What they thought is he was a passer, had great vision and handles, and would change the culture of Los Angeles from Kobe and pound the ball on the wing to let's move the ball up the court, more possessions, play fast, and all set up scores. He was a 15-point scorer in the Pac-12. He's averaging 9.5 in his first month. He'll probably get better, average 10 on the year. And then his sophomore year in the league, he'll be a little better. But the Lakers knew what they were getting. They were getting a player that hopefully other scorers, elite scorers, which you need in this league to win, would want to play with. If you get LeBron and Paul George with Brandon, Kuzma, and Lopez, the last thing you're going to want from Lonzo is shots. You're going to want passing. All right, we have a lively show today. We'll go to New York. There's a lot of stuff happening in the NFL. Peter Schrager. Coming up next, I am hearing a name out there that is up for a couple of jobs, and I think it's an utter, absolute disaster. And the answer to these schools is right in front of you. And it's not the television star you think it is. That is coming up next. Summer may be behind us, but sweat won't quit. That's where Tommy John comes in. The 21st century men's underwear brand. I switched to it, and I'm glad I did. Each pair crafted, ultralight, breathable fabric. Moves with you, not against you. No riding up ever. Impossible to get a wedgie. They really thought of everything to be comfortable. It's backed by their best pair you'll ever wear, or its free guarantee. No adjustment needed. TommyJohn.com now, code HERD. TommyJohn.com for 20% off the code HERD. HERD.